Hey girls and gals, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor and today's video is going to be a list of some of my most anticipated book releases that come out in July. As always, this is not a comprehensive list of every single book that comes out in July, nor is it a list of every single book I'm excited for. I feel like there are always some that slip through the cracks because there's just so many books, so little time, but these are just some of the ones that I'm really excited for. I will have the book information on screen with me while I'm talking about them, as well as a list of every single book in the description bar down below. So let's just go ahead and get talking about these. I am really excited about this list. This summer I'd already kind of committed to reading a lot of summer horror and just having like an 80s summer slasher type of vibes for my reading TBRs and all of that, and this list is absolutely delivering those vibes. So let's just go ahead and get started. Coming out on July 9th, we have The Sky on Fire by Jenn Lyons. And number one, this is a standalone fantasy, and I'm always looking for standalones. I absolutely love fantasy series. Some of my favorite fantasy books are in fact a part of series, but sometimes it's really nice to have a standalone where you can just pick it up and know that you're not committing to like 4 to 7 new books. So this is a standalone fantasy that claims it's Dragon Riders of Pern for a modern audience. This seems to be a heist-centric story with dragons. The cover is absolutely gorgeous. I've heard great things about this author's The Ruin of Kings series. I haven't picked that one up yet, but since this is a standalone, and I'm such a sucker for a dragon-centric fantasy, so I think I'll be prioritizing this one this summer. There's only one rule in the Cloud Cities: dragons rule, and fans of Naomi Novik's Temeraire series and Rebecca Yarros's The Fourth Wing will enjoy this page-turning adventure with conniving dragons, high-stakes intrigue, a daring heist, and a little bit of heat. So I'm really intrigued. I have read from all of the authors that have been blurbed as like home titles for this one, and I've enjoyed their takes on dragons, so I'm looking forward to this one. Next up, coming out July 16th, I Was a Teenage Slasher by Stephen Graham Jones. Stephen Graham Jones is one of the horror authors that are absolutely auto-buy, auto-check out from the library, auto-read his books, because I love his work. I love how his work always seems to be such a loving ode to horror films and the slasher genre in general, but I'm so excited. So this takes place in 1989, Lamesa, Texas. It's a small West Texas town driven by oil and cotton, and a place where everybody knows everybody else's business. Here, Stephen Graham Jones explores the Texas he grew up in, the unfairness of being on the outside, through the slasher horror he loves, but from the perspective of the killer. Find yourself rooting for a killer in this summer teen movie of a novel gone full blood-curdling tragic. So I need to check this out. I love Stephen Graham Jones. What more can I say about it? I just think this one is just going to be such a fun time. I love Stephen Graham Jones, and I'm an absolute sucker for a horror book that takes place in the 80s. Next up, also coming out July 16th, we have Smothermoss by Alisa, Alering, and this cover is absolutely gorgeous. I think I've noticed that actually when compiling this list of books. Cover design this month is absolutely killing it, but Smothermoss also takes place in the 1980s, but this one is in Appalachia. This is a haunting, imaginative, and twisting tale of two sisters and the menacing, unexplained forces that threaten them and the rural mountain community. When a pair of female hikers is brutally murdered on the nearby Appalachian Trail, Sheila and Angie find themselves drawn into the hunt for the killer. As the ever-present threat of violence looms larger, the mountain may be the only thing that can save them from the darkness consuming their home and their community. This one, the cover, I love. I love that it says this is like gothic, summer gothic. I'm also always on the hunt for horror books that have to deal with like sibling dynamics rather than like a couple or something like that. So I think, you know, this mountainous setting, this gothic Appalachian tale, and then it's featuring two sisters, I'm really intrigued. Next up, coming out on July 23rd, we have So Witches We Became by Jill Baguchinsky, and this says, if boys will be boys, girls will fight back. I don't normally gravitate towards YA anymore just because I'm getting older and older and farther away from the target demographic, so it's always when I feel like I don't enjoy one, it's me, not the book. But this one, the cover, absolutely stunning. And this one also says that it reads like a YA feminist spin on Stephen King's The Mist. So Stephen King mentioned, that's intriguing as well. And this is also a horror fiction about witches, and I have been hunting for horror fiction that has to deal with witches, not paranormal, not fantasy. Like, I want more horror having to deal with witches, so that's what's intriguing me about this story. It's about female friendship, the emotional aftermath of surviving assault, and how to find power in the shadows of your past. For high school senior Nell and her friends, a vacation house on a private Florida island sounds like the makings of a dream spring break, but Nell brings secrets with her, secrets that fuse with the island's tragic history, trapping them all in a curse that surrounds the island in a toxic, vengeful mist. So I'm really intrigued to see what's going on here. I also love all of the very atmospheric summer horror that's coming out this summer. And the last few books all come out July 30th. The first of these is Heads Will Roll by Josh Winning. I mean, look at this cover. This screams summerween. This screams summer slasher, summer horror. I've read by this author before and I really enjoyed his work, so I'm excited to pick this one up. But this is a horror thriller. We're following our main character Willow, whose worst nightmare is being canceled. But the woods of Camp Castaway might destroy a bit more than her reputation. After sitcom star Willow tweeted herself into infamy and had to be dragged blind drunk out of a swimming pool, her agent ships her off to the woodsy and wonderfully anonymous confines of Camp Castaway. Tucked away in the trees of upstate New York, Castaway is a summer camp for adults in desperate need of leaving behind their mistakes, their social media accounts, their lives. No real names, no phones, no way to call for help. We are in such an isolated summer camp setting. Willow's having fun, but the peaceful vibe is soon shattered when one of the campers vanishes. As terror grips the group, campers begin to lose their heads literally as Willow and her new friends are now on the run. So yeah, spooky summer definitely in full effect for this one. I'm really intrigued. I'm hoping this one leans more horror than thriller, because sometimes the thrillers that kind of have just a little bit of horror elements are more miss than hit for me. But hopefully this is more horror than thriller, and I've read by this author before and enjoyed his work, so definitely looking forward to picking this one up. The next one is another YA horror, but I could not resist, and I think you'll get when you see the covers. So this one is The Blonde Dies First by Joelle Wellington, and you cannot tell me that that is like such a perfect slashery cover. A group of friends fight to choose their own fates in this trope-savvy, self-referential young adult thriller about a demonic force that acts according to horror movie rules in the spirit of Scream Queens. So I really enjoy horror that's self-referential. I enjoy horror that doesn't take itself too seriously. Scream's a good example, like the movie franchise. And then also Scream Queens, as was mentioned. I just think like having those tropes and having a tropey book with those tropes in mind, and having main characters that know about these horror tropes and are very referential and are trying to be like, okay, we're in a horror movie, we're in a horror novel, let's figure out how to survive using horror movie rules. That's generally a concept that works really, really well for me. So I'm really intrigued about this one. Can they use their horror movie knowledge to flip the script and become the hunters instead of the hunted, or will their best summer ever be their last? So yeah, again, I'm absolutely loving all of the slashery vibes that are a part of this collection of books that I'm talking about. And then last but not least, we have Ghost Camera by Darcy Coates. Now, I believe Ghost Camera was a novella that was originally released as like an Audible exclusive, something like that. This is the first time that it is being re-released in print format, as well as this novella is being combined with a bunch of other short stories by Darcy Coates. So I'm intrigued for this re-release, especially when I've read the synopsis, because it sounds like one of my favorite Goosebumps books, to be honest. When Janine finds an abandoned Polaroid camera, she takes a photo just for fun, but there's something wrong with the camera because a ghostly figure stands in the background watching her. Janine and her best friend Bree quickly realize the camera is capable of capturing the dead, but the ghosts seem to be following their friends, and with each new photo taken, the specters become closer and closer. So this is something that Stephen King's done this before in The Sundog, and I thought that was kind of an effective story. There has been a couple B movies with this plot that I've enjoyed that have been fun, and then of course Say Cheese Stories and Die by Goosebumps feels like very similar concept, so I'm looking forward to this one. Darcy Coates is an author that I really enjoy all of her work, and I've never read like shorter fiction. All of her works that I've read have been full-length novels, so I'm looking forward to checking this one out, and then as well as the other short stories in this new collection. But there you have it, friends. Those are some of the books that I'm looking forward to checking out next month. What do y'all think? What are your most exciting, most anticipated releases of July 2024? Definitely let me know down in the comments below. Thank y'all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, subscribe to my channel for all of the bookish horror, cozy gaming content. Stay safe, stay spooky, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye!